students. Today we're going to start drafting in Google Docs to create our process writing for our tutorial project number 4 in Writer's Workshop. So let's take a look at what we've done already and how that's going to help us outline our papers in Google Docs today. So yesterday we completed the planning tutorial video guide, and it looks like this. So with this document, you mapped out what your skill is, and this is going to be any process that you are a master of that has at least 8 steps to it. And before this, we actually did a brainstorming activity where you had options of different types of skills that you could choose from. So it could be an athletic skill or a tech skill, an artistic skill, it could be an organizational skill. So you use that to commit to your topic. And here you're just putting your anchor on the first page. Then you mapped out things that someone might need to complete this process. You thought about common mistakes that people make during this process. You thought about pro tips, things that you do differently than others during the process that make yours a little bit better than everyone else's. For example, if I was doing process writing on how to make the best grilled cheese sandwich, my pro tip would be to add pickles, because pickles add crunch and tang and zest, and they're fantastic. So that would be a pro tip. Not everyone does that, but it makes it better. Proper clothing and setting. And then you mapped out your steps to complete your task. So you have to have at least 8 steps in your process to use it for the project. If you have more than 8 steps, that's even better. So at this point, this should be completed. This should be turned in. And now we're going to use the content from this kind of as an outline to help us create our Google Doc. So today in Google Docs, we are going to log in. We are going to create an MLA format. So for this one, we are going to put your name, your teacher name, your class name, and we're going to put a placeholder for now for due date on the left-hand side. We're going to highlight that. We're going to make sure it's Times New Roman, 12-point font, which usually it defaults to Arial, so that will need change. We're also going to do line spacing and double space it so that it's spread out, and this is consistent with an MLA format. The next thing is going to be to have our header and title. So this is going to be process writing 4, and then you're going to insert your skill here. So I did my example on baking a Russian pavlova, so I typed that there. So your goal for today, and it's in your playlist, is to complete at least 3 paragraphs. If you're ready to move on, then you may continue writing. If you're not, then we're setting that goal at least 3. And we are going to label our paragraphs. So our first paragraph is going to be an explanation of the skill or product in detail. So this is important because we don't want to start just explaining the steps on how to do something without telling the reader what the final product is and why it's desirable or why it is something that he or she wants to make or do or create. So here is an example. Pavlova is a Russian dessert named for the Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova. It is a delicious meringue-based dessert that is crispy on the outside and chewy on the inside. It is often packed with fruits and cream. It is usually served during celebratory and holiday meals. They should be eaten within 24 hours of making them and should be stored in the refrigerator until ready to eat. So that's just a little synopsis of what it is. So you're going to be doing that with either your skill or the product that you are creating. The next paragraph we're going to do today is what you'll need, what you should wear, and then where you'll be. So I have some examples of past students' work in your playlist. So for example, one student did a karate move. She talked about having loose, flexible clothing on, having an area that has a lot of space. It's very commodious, using one of our Word of the Week words. So if you're doing an athletic skill, you're going to think of things like that. And then if you're doing something where you are baking or you are cooking something, then you're going to do something like this. First, you will need to acquire the following ingredients. Then I list them all. You'll need to gather a large spoon with holes, a mixing bowl, and 2 smaller bowls. You'll want to wear an apron to protect your clothes, and will need a wide kitchen countertop for working space. So you're just thinking about every possible thing that someone might need in order to complete this task or skill. And then you're going to start with the first step in your process. So everyone's probably going to have a different number of paragraphs based on how many steps are in your process and how you're organizing it. But the first paragraph is going to be the kickoff. So again, pretend that your reader does not know anything about your topic, and you're going to start with your first paragraph, something like this. Start by bringing your eggs to room temperature. You can do this by creating an egg bath. Take room temperature water to fill a small bowl with it. Place your 3 eggs inside and wait for them to reach room temperature. Now, throughout your whole paper, you're going to offer some common mistakes to avoid and then also some pro tips. So wherever those fit in, depending on your process, you're going to weave those in. So here's an example of that. A common mistake is using hot water for the egg bath. This can cook the eggs, so avoid this error. So we're going to be embedding those throughout. So this is just a little overview of where we are today. We should be in Google Docs. We should be formatting in MLA format. We should be creating our header, our title, and then the first 3 paragraphs, explanation of skill or product in detail, what you need, what you should wear, where you should be, and then your first step paragraph, perhaps embedding a common mistake or a pro tip if those are applicable. Okay, use all of the models that are in your playlist. You have a link to this document that you can use as a model, and there's also student examples in there as well.